Hi, New Life. I'm Alexa, and this is my New Life story. So, I actually just graduated from Evangel University. I got a degree in biology, and I am looking forward to attending medical school. So, my parents were foster parents the whole time, basically, when we were growing up. So, we had lots of kids in and out of the house with a lot of different medical issues, and seeing how the doctors impacted the kids' lives and how they could be like, oh no, like this will solve this problem, really inspired me to pursue the same thing. Growing up in the Campbell house was the fun kind of chaotic. There's always lots of people. Obviously grew up with a lot of foster kids in the house. I think the most impactful one for me was we had a little girl for almost 2 years. We thought we were going to adopt her. They said we were going to adopt her. And then we went to court and they decided that she was going to get reunified that day. And then she started coming home with cigarette burns, like all over her arms is where it started. And we were like, okay, like that's not normal. My mom would talk to her and like figure out what was happening. And then one night she came home with cigarette burns, like we went to like change her diaper and it was like just all burns. And at that point it's okay, parents aren't her legal guardians. They can't bring her to a hospital since they're not her legal guardian. What do you do? And so they decided the best action was to hotline her mom. And because we did that, we haven't seen her since then. And so I think for me, that was the first thing that really made me like doubt that God was good. Because I was one of the kids who was like, yeah, I got saved when I was 7. I got baptized. Like I was set. And that was the first time that I was like, okay, if this little girl is completely innocent and she has a safe option, why would God not give her the safe option? That was for probably like 5 or 6 years. I was just like mad at God, like couldn't care less about him. Like obviously still came to church, still did all the things, but internally it wasn't like, there was no relationship there, and the relationship that was left, I was too angry to really care about. Got into high school, didn't always make the best decisions, didn't always make the best friends, and ended up coming to a point before I left for college of like, what is the point of me having this facade up in front of everybody? And there really is no point to having and acting like, oh, everything's fine and everything's good and everything's great. And then once I kind of realized that, it was like a very like real and raw moment of like just like surrender. Like I just gave up. I just was like, there's really no point in me pursuing everything that I want and just being mad at God. And through surrendering and reading my Bible to learn, not just to memorize, I really learned like what it meant for Jesus to love me and care about me, and for him also to love others and care about others and how he sees others. So I think that was probably the biggest moment. And then going to college, it was, I had made it my own, but when you don't have a church that you go to anymore, you don't have a community that you're used to being involved in anymore, you kind of have to start from scratch. I got plugged into a church, ended up doing their growth track, which would be similar to like New to New Life. And then I started serving in kids ministry and in the nursery ministry. And that really opened up my community more and let me have community outside of being at school. It doesn't really matter where someone's from, what their background is, or anything really. What matters is how God sees them. And God sees them as a child of his, as his creation, and as someone who he loves. And so I think the more you get to know Jesus, the more you get to see that in others. It starts from a place of Jesus accepts me, loves me, he created me for a reason. And then it extends to Jesus created him and he created her and he loves them and I can love them and I can serve them however God's calling me to do that.